If you're any kind of professional, this one thing will transform your workflow and improve your bottom line. Listen very carefully. I'm Justin Hitt from Inside Strategic Relations. Are you a medical doctor? Are you a lawyer, accountant, a therapist, a psychologist, someone who is a professional whose prospects schedule appointments for initial consultations and then enter into some kind of coaching or regular meetings? So, for example, the accountant has regular quarterly meetings with clients in order to set up their tax position and prepare for their tax returns. Doing this will help make sure your tax returns are smooth, and it's a service that high-income professionals and high-net-worth individuals will pay to receive. A lawyer schedules an appointment to hear out a prospective client, to hear whether the case is relevant to them. This appointment has confidentiality associated with it. There's a number of characteristics that make this appointment unique, and there's a list of things that the prospect or the potential client needs to have in place before they show up to the meeting. These are things that make an initial consultation better, yet if these things are not in place, it's just a huge pain in the ass on the prospect side. Now, I'm saying prospect, this is a potential client. So this is a high net worth individual who wants accounting services so that they can reduce their taxes and prepare for retirement. This is a business owner who wants legal representation for contracts versus legal representation for high stakes hiring. The biggest, easiest, most valuable thing that you can do as a expert positioned professional is to put somebody at a front desk, and their job in life is to schedule appointments. Their job is to take that initial inquiry, prepare the prospective client to have an initial consultation, and to fill your calendar with initial consultations. Now, you might set aside one day a week where that's where all the consultations are scheduled. You might schedule a couple hours a day every day, give you kind of a break from the day to do these initial consultations. It is filling your funnel so that you'll always have new clients. You'll always have new opportunities. Now, in this, you can have the expert positioning done by someone at the front desk rather than you as an individual. I'm getting taxes together every year. My taxes is like 30, 40 pages. It's ridiculous. I wish we'd go to a flat tax system, but that's not going to happen. So what I do is I hire a CPA to help me prepare tax returns, to help me do with my chart of accounts to make sure I'm properly accounting for my expenses, and to inform me about different tax changes and situations. They also work with the IRS if there's any challenges there. And once I get a CPA, I want that CPA for life. Now, eventually I'll mess up, but I want this one for life. I want this one to work consistently in a schedule. But I'm finding the biggest headache is meetings, appointments, scheduling. They don't have anybody in the office who is simply managing a calendar. Now, of course, this person in the office would do filing. They would do other things. It is an administrative professional. It is a position that prepares that individual experience-wise to take on higher level professional roles. Ultimately, it doesn't pay very much. But again, it is that gateway to the expert. Instead, I got a call. I finally got the personal cell phone of the CPA. I have to call his cell phone. Okay. Now, this is fine. It gets me the access I need, but I can hear the frustration in their voice. They don't have adequate administrative support. If you are a lawyer, any of these professions, a doctor's, if you went into a doctor's office and your medical doctor was sitting at the front desk with the appointment book in hand saying, when should we put you in the calendar? Your respect for that individual, your comfort level with that individual would immediately go down. So again, what can you do? Well, I advocate as someone who builds business relationships to not go out on your own. You want to have an administrative assistant. I don't care if they're a virtual assistant I don't care if they are physically in an office somewhere. This person is going to do every task that takes you more than 15 minutes to do, especially if that task is outside your area of expertise. So first, your question is, how do we pay for this person? And it is having them schedule appointments. They can call down your old customer list and just do a follow-up on clients. You can send out a 3-step mailing piece that informs your past clients about new opportunities. So let's say you're a CPA and you're going to send out a little note because the IRS is hiring 80,000 agents. And here are the 3 things that you need to be aware of, because these agents are going to have more free time on their hands and they're going to be nitpicking and looking for stuff. So the advice could be proper records management, quarterly reviews of your tax position and income position to make sure you're withdrawing enough money. And then finally, having your tax return prepared by a professional. Okay, you can make up more benefits or more things to do, but you send this note out to prospective clients or past clients, and you say, oh, by the way, if you'd like to discuss your tax situation today, then contact my office and we'll get you in the calendar. So you're now re-engaging the prospect, re-engaging the past customer. Now, these things immediately start paying for your administrative staff. Now, from time to time, I've had 7, 8 different administrative staff folks in the office doing things. In the physical office, 1 or 2 people, but the rest of them are virtual. And one person will be responsible for just the social media interactions. Another person will be responsible for editorial related to my blog posts and my podcasts. Someone else is just responsible for my email. All they do is screen the email. And they go through it and they give me a list each day of the 4 or 5 important activities that need my action. And then as we have these interactions, by the way, I have a whole program on how to hire an administrative assistant. But basically, they give me a bulleted list of the daily actions. So I work on billable work, and then I have this list of things that came up. And then I fill in the blank next to it. And I start helping them create canned responses. So, for example, when you visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com and you send me a fax or you send me a letter or you send me an email with your questions, somebody's going to look through that and they're going to say, you know what? This question was answered before. They're going to go into the library and pull that answer out. And they're going to write a summary up that sometimes I review, sometimes I don't. And that summary is basically going to point you to valuable content. Now, if you get a big, long reply, it's usually me replying back because they've identified you as somebody who's been a repeat newsletter subscriber. They look to see that you've opened email messages in the past. You've been to the website. I will reply to that, blind copy them, and they might turn it into an article or an outline for a podcast or a tutorial. So what I'm saying here is if anybody is scheduling appointments with you, you should not own your calendar. You can block off big chunks of time. We're going to work on specific projects, but the rest of your day should be scheduled with appointments. Now, that individual is going to schedule appointments that are canned. So there's the initial consultation. There's the client onboarding. There are specific activities that are happening. They're going to schedule all that stuff. They might also schedule a time block to work on a particular project. So you may say to them, hey, look, on project A, I need to meet with the stakeholders and we are going to cover these 3 topics. So your assistant would write up the agenda, would go and negotiate everybody's calendars, look at the project schedule and make sure that they get you on the calendar within the project schedule, and then ultimately prep everybody to be on the call. This is time boosting, time efficiency, and actually a great big influence creator, because now I don't really know how to explain it, but when I can't get a hold of somebody I'm paying a lot of money to do professional services, I kind of get pissed. But if I talk to their front desk, so I call in and say, I need a copy of such and such. What's the draft look like on this tax return? If somebody at the front desk can just give it to me, then I'm much happier. And the same thing goes with your clients. So the key here is you want to hire appropriate support. Put that appropriate support in between you and the prospective client. Now, you're still going to be one-on-one with actual clients, people who are paying you money for services. You're still going to be one-on-one with those folks. You're going to check in on them weekly. You're going to make sure that you're on track from a project perspective. But ultimately, that gatekeeper becomes the person who's just loading up your calendar. So if every Thursday you do initial consultations, they should fill that day up in advance. That's their priority. A certain amount of these initial consultations will become actual clients. And then after the initial consultation, your assistant will provide the onboarding kit, which might explain whether you accept certain types of insurance, or how does a payment work, or how do you schedule appointments? What are you expecting of the client in the meeting? What should the client expect of you? All of that stuff can be prepared on the back end. Now, again, this is about efficiency. This is about you connecting with the buyers, the clients, and serving them at the highest level possible, while those new clients are coming in a systematic way. This is going to allow you to grow your practice faster. It's going to allow you to accomplish more. And I would even argue that if you're a high-income professional or a high-net-worth individual, it's going to help you stay on top of things. So I have rental properties and the newsletters and publications. I have full-time client work. My assistant will help organize those different buckets. So if there are HVAC filters needed to be changed on one of the buildings that we have, they might go ahead and just schedule that. If there's right now it's winter in the Mid-Atlantic, and we have a outdoor compressor that has failed. And those folks need to be back on the calendar to replace the compressor under warranty and to make sure our client's taken care of. So there's several activities tied to that. We just simply store that information in a central project management or in a simple document that people can reference, and then the assistant is facilitating keeping things moving. So meanwhile, I can be off working on client work, focused with all of my brain capacity on the client work, while the other stuff is still moving along. The administrative stuff is moving along. Your assistant is massively powerful in the sense of helping you do the repetitive activities consistently. Meanwhile, the items that require your level of expertise, level of experience, can be done more systematically as well, because you'll be able to block out time to work on those projects. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. This has been about how you can become more productive, accomplish more, gain influence in a marketplace by having someone who's scheduling your appointments. At a minimum, scheduling your appointments, managing your calendar, making sure that you're on top of the administrative elements of your day. If you have any questions about what we've covered today, or how you might utilize an assistant in your environment right now, and even how to do the numbers to see how profitable that can be, then visit my website at www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Go to the contact page, reach out to me with your questions, comments, and concerns. Thanks for listening. I'm here to help you transform business relationships into profits guaranteed.